Before the October sitting, I had a conversation with leader of the opposition, Pritam Singh, and the conversation was that if I were to retain the narrative, or if I were to continue the narrative, there would be no judgment.
Can you tell us which date this took place?
3rd of October.
Where did this take place?
In my house.
Was there anyone else present besides the two of you?
No, there was not.
Are there any email or messages exchanged as a result of this?
No, there was not.
The discussion for you to retain the narrative and there will be no judgment. Can you give me your interpretation of that? What do you make of that statement?
My interpretation was that that there would be no consequences for me to continue the narrative that I had begun on the in August. After
In other words,
speech.
there will be no consequences on you if you continue the lie and keep up the contention that there was this occasion, this anecdote that you had described on the 3rd of August, despite it being a lie.
That was my interpretation.
Yes.
Yes.
And there was therefore no attempt by Mr. Singh to ask you to clarify the matter in favor of putting out the truth.
Not at that point in time, no.
Not on the 3rd of October.
No.
Right. This news article goes further. There was, I think, a press statement made by Mr. Singh. And there followed, I think, some press questions. And I'd just like to draw your attention to a part of the report which is titled Taking Responsibility. Let me just read it to you verbatim. And I quote, "When asked why the claim was allowed to remain uncorrected," and the claim here refers to the anecdote, Mr. Singh said, and I quote, "Each Workers' Party MP is a leader in his or her own right. And if you have done something wrong, it is your responsibility to set the record right. Adequately set the record right, yes, full stop. In response to questions over why Ms. Khan did not follow orders to clarify the matter in October, Mr. Singh added, and I quote, these are his words, "Why she didn't take heed of that instruction? Why did she ignore it? That's not a question I can answer." Can I invite you to comment on this in light of what you have just said earlier about the discussion you had on the 3rd of October?
I think regardless of the discussion that I had, I agree that it was my responsibility to come forth with the truth. And I take full responsibility of that. I think despite advice, I should have taken the step to rectify my mistake then.
This contention that there was an order for you to clarify the matter in October, can you give us your view on this?
I mean, I'm hearing this for the first time, so I...
Would you agree with the characterization that there was an order for you to clarify the matter in Parliament in October?
I do not agree with that characterization.